Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. Discovery crashes into the 3180s. I think you've got some Leland on your shoes. I know she's a fictional lady, but I'm really concerned about Detmer. Saru gets Spikey. Tilly gets called a sweetheart. And are you trying to hurt me? Or is this foreplay?
I swear, being able to cloak is such a game changer. Really love this new ship. Wait, the light's on. We're broadcasting. Nice. Okay, apparently we're broadcasting. I just saw the light go off.
We're broadcasting cloaked.
Yeah, that's so cool. And we're on tight beam this time, correct?
There you go. Yeah, we got the tight beam.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding. Well, first off, welcome back, everybody, to Starfleet Underground. We have been really enjoying this new ship. It still has the new starship smell.
I've got the last bit of bubble wrap.
Nice.
Good stuff.
And surprisingly, Heather has not managed to burn anything in the galley yet. So that's amazing in itself.
Just wait.
Well, you guys won't let me go near the kitchen.
With good reason.
Yeah, you can go supervised, you know? And we have that special additive on there. We got the emergency food hologram that was modeled after Emeril Lagasse. So he prepares everything for us.
Yes.
So that's even better.
Thank God.
And also, we're going to be introducing now, of course, my number one, our liaison to all of our VIPs, as well as our computer guru, Patrick.
Hey, I'm Patrick. How you guys doing?
I've already forgotten that.
Hey, my name is Gene.
What?
My name is Gene. Clean up on aisle 5.
Oh, Gene.
That explains.
Oh, Gene. The Tribble made a mess over here. Look at the corner, Gene. Somebody's got to clean it up. I think it's you.
Clean up on aisle 5.
Lower decks. Calling lower decks.
Right.
Now I know why every time I go by, I hear you asking people, do they want to see your Roddenberries?
Well, mine would be Roddenberries. Yours would be Roddenberries.
Oh, my God. You're lucky we're in a tight beam, the HR. You would so lose a bit for that. And we have our engineer for, again, this ship is a marvel. I can't even believe he's making it hum even better.
Check this out. I got this programmed. Computer.
He's giving it a hummer.
Milkshake. Chocolate. Cool.
Wow.
I mean, I ordered a milkshake and it brings all the boys to the yard, but, you know, it's a milkshake.
That's because you're giving it a hummer.
And damn right, it's better than yours.
It brings all the Tribbles to the yard, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I like to keep the top on tight so the Tribbles can't get at my straw.
No. The Tribbles, all they do is hear that sound and they come running.
They love the replicator. It's like they come meowing to the door, except they don't meow.
As long as it doesn't spill on the warp core or any of the consoles.
Oh, yeah. No. We'll keep it out of the engine room.
Good to go. Now, first, I'm going to also ask, how's everyone's week's been?
You didn't introduce somebody.
Oh, Heather. That's right. Hi. She didn't bring me any coffee because she's not allowed. Maybe I'll test her out this time because of her new replicator. She hasn't been able to burn anything. So, hello.
It's been really nice. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm the science officer, and I am so grateful for this EMH. Is that right? EMR?
Yes.
So super grateful that I have someone to help me so I don't burn stuff.
Wouldn't that be an E.M.C, emergency hologram chef?
I don't, sometimes they just get all mixed up and I can't remember. I just say, hey, you.
The only thing I don't like about it is anytime he fixes something, he always ends it with a bam. So it's like, I like some steak and eggs. Here you go. Bam, bam.
And sometimes they want to kick it up a notch. You just pour a little bit here, kick it up a notch. Bam.
On my setting, I picked the Gordon Ramsay one. So when he comes in and he's like, 1, 2, 3, done. Done.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you left it on the other day and I'm getting there and I'm making my instant oatmeal and he's like, you're pitiful. You're absolutely horrible. This is crap.
You pig! What are you doing? No, that's what he says to me. Like, I go in there and I start cooking, and the dude starts insulting me and like telling me like, what is this food? This is horrible. You are, get it. Oh, he just goes off on me.
Well, positive reinforcement hasn't helped you so far, so, you know.
True.
This pasta is so overcooked, it looks like threat gangula that's tingling.
That's very specific.
Well, at least it's not still hard.
It's been a great week being on this new ship, I will have to say. And to also top it off, a great episode. First off, I must give our bills here, so to speak. This show is being brought to you by Section 31. And this is the podcast where we're always cloaked.
You'll never find us unless you found us searching for us.
This is so cool. I love it. Any corrections this week?
I did not receive any subspace communications.
So therefore, we're flawless again. Flawless ship, flawless everything. Now we're going to start because Heather's been so good with cleaning up the Tribbles and everything else. I'm going to have her go first. You have any news for this week?
Yes. So my news is with Georgiou and Section 31. There's speculation out on the interwebs, intertubes, whichever you like to call it. And they are saying that they think that Georgiou's Section 31 spinoff may be set in the year 3189 when Discovery is set. So she might be revamping Section 31 in the future. It's just rumor, but that's what they're saying.
That actually sounds pretty interesting because you figured if the Federation falling apart, you're going to have people willing to do some things that the Federation wouldn't do in order to get it back on target. So that's pretty interesting.
Since there's no time travel allowed in this future, and supposedly all time travel equipment has been destroyed, it would be difficult for her to get back in time, to do Section 31 like back when in 2284 or wherever.
I agree. That's really cool info. And how about you there, our computer guy? What do you have for us?
Well, there is going to be a new Star Trek novel. It's a prequel. It's called Star Trek Picard, The Dark Veil. It's set a year after Picard resigns from Starfleet, and it's set while Riker and Troy are serving on the USS Titan. Oh. So, yeah, we're getting a little Riker and Troy action.
Oh, maybe we'll get a little bit of Boimler in there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool.
It should arrive on a hardcover ebook and audio editions on January 5th, 2021.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. So I could go up on the comps and everything, the computers, and like go and check it out and pre-order mine, right?
Yeah.
Yay.
It's available for pre-order on Amazon.
Sweet.
That's pretty cool. Now, I have Rocky, do you have some news?
Oh, yeah. So I was looking at the stories, coming at it from the film nerd angle of things, as in the nerd filmmaker style. You guys, of course, you've checked out The Mandalorian and you've seen the amazing works, or at least the effects work they do to bring that show to life, that ginormous circular screen that ties in with the camera.
Yeah.
They're going to get one for season 4 of Discovery.
Oh,
awesome.
Wow.
So to be able to shoot some of these shots, it's a very interesting technique because you figure, well, we got these giant screens nowadays and we got these really cool sensitive cameras. You can point them and not build the entire set, but build parts of it, fill in the middle kind of, and then you've got the background working. And the way it actually works out with the camera is they use like the Unreal Game Engine technology to generate the animations because it tracks along with the camera in real time.
Shit.
It's very, very cool, very nerdy, and amazing what they can do with it. I mean, especially you've seen some of the shots in The Mandalorian, and now you question, is reality even there? Because is that actually a thing they went to in another country to shoot? Or is it just some kind of shot they had loaded up on the giant screen? So it's cool is that Star Trek is going to be enabling this technology as well, and that's incredibly cool. Of course, Pandemic Land, they finished shooting season 3 just before Pandemic Land kicked off, and sometimes you have to shoot some insert shots or some cutaway shots or some random shot they just weren't able to pick up when they were shooting it on, during the actual shooting time. They're like in editing and they're like, oh, we need a shot of somebody doing this. Well, they've been able to get some of those, apparently using some of them with CG animation, and they use the motion capture technology on the actors, and they don't even have to leave their home. They're just wearing, I guess, the dots or whatever, and they can track the animation, and then they just put it right into the computer animation, and it's so good that we don't know that it's happening when we look at it it on screen. I think that's fascinating to be able to use all this technology and take advantage of it in the world of COVID.
Thank you, James Cameron, for Avatar.
Yeah.
Are they going to do that with the entire season, next season, though? Or?
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to be an entire season sort of thing. I think it was kind of a stopgap measure because once you hit, everyone's quarantined, you couldn't just go back to the studio real quick and pick up a shot or two. They're like, no one's coming in. No one's doing that. But it's safer. You can track the animation from home with the tracking dots and a person in front of a camera or two, and they can sync that up and computer animate stuff to fill in the shots. But for being able to take and go out and shoot cool background shots and enable that instead of going on location to another country to shoot the set, well, it's kind of hard right now because, you may be able to get to one country. You may not be able to get to all of the countries because everybody's quarantining everybody right now. So instead of doing that, have a local crew shoot the background imagery, and then you incorporate that into the giant LCD screen technology that they have, like they do on The Mandalorian, and then you can shoot wherever you need to shoot, but you're right in your own studio.
Just have the actors with a green screen behind him
Not even a green screen. They literally put the imagery up on a ginormous LCD panel, a wall of LCDs, and it looks so good that the camera can't tell the difference.
I meant that when the actors are shooting from home with motion capture, that they would probably have a green screen behind them.
Oh, they could. That's possible. Depends on what animation they're trying to capture. I mean, are they trying to capture face animation, or are they trying to capture, full on, body movements kind of thing?
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, one of the things is, I'm sure that, I don't know if our listeners are aware, and I'm sure your crew is aware, before I became a command officer, I was a science officer back in the beginning of my career. And I talked to one of the guys who stood within the prime directive, but they kind of guided them to a technology. And if you guys want to know how they're starting to film now, one of the things that they're doing is that they have everyone has to first, before they go to set to do a series or anything else, they got to quarantine for 14 days. After they quarantine, they have to be COVID checked before and during. So even while the process is going, every 3 days or so, they get COVID tested on set. They also have to wear a bracelet. Everyone wears a bracelet. If another bracelet detects another one, it starts an internal timer. And if you're with someone for longer than 15 minutes, it warns you that you got to get away from them. So everyone can interact with short, limited amounts of time. So they still say social distance on set. When it comes to like The Mandalorian, if a person has prosthetics, they put a mask underneath the helmet. However, on shows like The Walking Dead, they're using a full headpiece, which doesn't have as much emotion and stuff, but they're able to wear a mask, and they still are using those bracelets, and they cut down the amount of time for interaction. And the fight scenes are going to be further apart and with camera angles. So it makes them look like they're closer than what they actually are. So Hollywood, as well as the studios, have found a way to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, there's still, the production must go on because we got to have entertainment. I mean, that's just kind of, it's hard enough to go crazy with just being at home and not doing anything other than working from home. You're not being able to go out and go places. So if we start to run out of fresh new entertainment, we're going to all go crazy. So
all you got to do is turn on the news and watch the orange cloud in the White House.
That's not entertaining, dude.
I just figured they would do what sports did, where they would have these like massive bubbles. For example, they would rent out Disneyland and have Disneyland for a month, and everyone would live there while they,
Well, see what happened with the sports, the basketball team was able to do that because they have huge dollar investment in their players, because you only have a handful of players on a basketball team that makes a basketball team. So they're able to successfully do that. But when you have a team the size of a football team or the size of a baseball team, they haven't been able to successfully do the bubble because there's just so many of them, and it's just so interaction and everything else. With basketball, they could do that in one sports arena. They can house people. Can you imagine the entire NFL in one location or in several locations? That's why you've had players come down positive so far on the NFL teams as well as baseball, and they have to pull out because they can't make the bubble that huge.
Yeah, they got to go to that funeral at that strip club. I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to one of the basketball players, and he wound up losing 2 weeks. He had to go quarantine because he claimed he only went to the strip club because I like the wings there. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Well, it was supposed to be for a funeral. Like the whole reason why he got out was, I have to go to, what was it, like his grandma's funeral, or it was something like that.
Oh, that's like getting special permission and then you go off and party someplace.
And then he went to a strip club.
That's classy.
So he had to watch for 2 weeks. Now, for the news that I have two, I think it's exciting news. For one, for any of our listeners that are across the pond over there in the UK, the United Royal Mail, the Royal Mail is releasing Star Trek stamps of every character that's in Star Trek. I don't know if you can order it from the United States and get it mailed to you, but if you got friends across the pond, you might want to talk them into buying some for you and sending them over. The artwork on it is unreal. It's really, really cool. Now, somehow they found out where Janeway was going to be born. So they put up a statue for Captain Janeway to honor her in Bloomington, Indiana. So now there is a full bust with her on it as captain. And underneath, I think they should have did Admiral, but that's just me. It says the future birthplace of Captain Janeway. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's kind of
Awesome.
fun.
That's nice.
Like the
You know what's
Kirk one.
fun? The people on Twitter, the ladies, I believe they're in Germany. They are huge Chakotay fans. And when this news came out about the stamps, they had already had a Photoshop thing within like a day of all Chakotay stamps. And then there was 20 people going like, that's cool. So the ladies love Chakotay.
Yeah, they do. Ever since he did that thing where he laid down on the bed with his shirt half open, and yeah, they just gone nuts.
So I appreciate following those people. I think they're a lot of fun.
I hope they Photoshop a stamp of and in the middle they put the GIF in where Picard or Data and all of them are in the car and they're dancing.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Now, when I say Star Trek, I mean all across all genres. So from the original series to TNG to Enterprise to DS9 to Discovery, they have all of the series in there. All of them, including Krall and the other aliens. They got Bashir looking sexy. They got Archer with his, of course, stern look. They got everybody. Even they managed to get the whimsical look on Captain Janeway's face where she sees her coffee coming. So
it must be with her coffee. It must be something with her coffee.
Yeah, so if you guys get a chance, look, you can find the images online.
That's very cool.
Now, if that's it for the news, we're going to go ahead and get our newly promoted science officer, Lieutenant Heather.
Lieutenant
Sweet.
Ferris. Go ahead.
Did you Google? Because did he forget your name?
No, I
That
was
was
trying to
dramatic
give it
pausing?
an excitement. I was doing a Captain Kirk pause.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't a Captain Kirk.
I thought
Oh
you
my
were doing
God.
a Marilyn Monroe, Mr.
No.
President.
No, I was trying to do the Captain Kirk pause because she's such a good science officer.
Woo!
No.
Yes, she is.
Thanks. Okay, reporting for duty, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so this week our episode was Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 2, Far From Home, with the teaser, which is, what year is it? Discovery crew is flinged through a wormhole, and the Mega G forces from this stellar ride knocked everyone out. As they come to, they crash land on the nearest planet as the crew sustains major injuries.
Yeah, that was like that first shot of them. They're all lying there, on the bridge. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What happened?
It was quite the introduction because you had the light imagery strobing in and out. And time travel, it can knock you out. I mean, every time we've experienced time travel through Star Trek, if they had to warp around the sun, they usually go unconscious and they wake back up. And the very first thing you always hear is, did the braking thrusters fire? Because they're supposed to automatically be pre-programmed to do that. And I have a feeling that Discovery didn't know that's what's supposed to happen because they came out and they were still moving.
And pretty fast.
It's the Mega G forces, man.
Yeah, they took one hell of a ride through that sucker. Systems were knocked all the way out.
Yep.
It was amazing.
EPS conduits and...
What point during this whole experience do you guys figure they thought, okay, we're going to crash land on a planet? What point through that entire sequence? Because nobody said, oh shit, we're going to crash. Nobody said any of that. All of a sudden, they just silently start working on it.
Yeah, but did you guys notice too, this isn't the first time that we see a starship plow into a planet or crash into a planet and everything. And the most famous starship crashes in Trek history was Star Trek Generations, when the Enterprise D-Saucer section crash landed on the planet Viridian, I think. And then Star Trek Beyond, it was Enterprise. And we also saw the same thing happen recently on Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 9. But this is the very, very first time that we saw the ship actually fly away intact after that kind of a crash.
They got away with it.
Wasn't there a crash in Voyager as well?
Yes, there was a crash on Voyager. It was an ice crash landing too, so it was similar to this one, and that was the episode Timeless.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I remembered one on Voyager.
Yeah. And did you know too that Voyager was the only Star Trek ship in all of the series that consistently was able to land and take off from planets like multiple times?
It's very cool. It's a nice feature to have on a starship.
Right.
Yeah, but they need seatbelts.
Okay, yeah, the seatbelts, because, oh my God, did Detmer fly the fuck over that console and slam into the deck. Oh my God, that poor woman. She flew just let me swear right here. She flew the fuck out of that ship and got everything through. And, she was doing thermal rolls and things, and she saved the day.
Brace!
Except
brace,
that right where they
brace.
land. Yeah, they're yelling brace like you're on the, what they see in the movies on an airplane. They start yelling brace.
But she's got some PTSD going on. Something
yeah.
I don't know if it's just from this crash, but I'm thinking that there's some other trauma that we don't know about.
Yeah, because you're sitting there watching it going, oh, that girl just got a concussion. She is knocked the F out. Nope, she's standing and she's like dazed. Like, yeah, she needs to go to sickbay.
No, you think it's a concussion, and then she goes to sickbay, and they're like, you're fine.
Yeah.
So, that's total PTSD.
Yeah, so
something's happening with her.
She got shook internally.
Yeah. She was triggered.
Yeah, you can tell if it wasn't for the fact, well, that's later on in the next section. We'll talk about that. But yeah, there's definitely something that's going on with her. You can see the look on her face.
Well, and think about what has been going on just before this, because the end of the last season, all of that was going on. And Detmer was a huge part of that, flying that ship around.
And who knows about her implant going through a temporal thing like that, what it did to her.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So we don't know what's going on.
Also, I know Leland was pretty much stomped to death, but what happened with Control? Did Control go with him to the future?
I think where Georgiou demagnetized whatever Control was.
Oh, okay. So it's like putting a magnet up to a hard drive. You totally wiped the whole thing.
Yeah. You got zapped.
Got it.
And then when Tilly and Saru are walking through the corridor and Georgiou walks up and Tilly's like, you got some Leland on your shoes.
Yes.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit of Leland there,
The only question I'm wondering about is the beginning where you see Saru on the floor and he's looking at the material just like bouncing around on top of the deck. What was that material? Is that part of the black matter that was on the ship sometimes? Or was that just weird random dust? Or was it vibrations? I'm like, what's going on right there?
Good vibrations. Bum, 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 bum. Don't look up. You don't want to see that.
I think I missed that. How did I miss that?
When all the lights were turned off and they're all coming to, before he comes to and says, everybody get at your stations, he's looking at the deck, and he's seeing like particles on the ground bouncing around. I
just skin cells, dead skin cells.
It's very weird.
It's like rocks or sand or something.
Yeah,
and I really like what they did too with the whole making you feel immersed in this, because they introduced the sound and the lights and everything in such a way that you can actually feel like you're coming out of the concussion.
Out of the time travel.
Yeah.
It's a great representation of it throughout Star Trek. And the way they did it with the lighting, too, is very cool because, at one point, the only thing was lit up seemed to be the screen. And they're traveling. I don't know if they're traveling fast or traveling through time, but they're traveling. And it looked very cool, but it was like everything else, all the systems were screwed up. So there's no major lights going on. I love the work they were doing on this to make, even in the next scene, how the ship looks so different because the lighting is so different. Because stuff isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
All the EPS conduits sit through and out. And looking at it from a command perspective, that's how they really portrayed on what a professional crew does. Because as soon as he got up and told everyone to go in station, there was no panic in anyone's voices. You see concern on their face, but they actually went through and did their job as professionally as they could. Nobody started screaming and waving their hands in the air. We're going to die.
Except for Reno's back. Reno's back was a little out of whack.
Nobody's going to say like, we're going to fucking go, what the fuck was that? What did we just hit?
Well, we're looking at the bridge. We're not seeing what's happening in lower decks.
Well, lower decks, they totally did that. Lower decks probably.
They'd be like,
oh my God, we're going to die.
So it's like I should have took that fucking leave, for 10 years.
That's right. I could have been on Risa.
I meant to say I wanted the other ship. I got the two ships confused.
Yeah, I was supposed to be on Enterprise.
It's like, what the hell? They never asked me if I wanted to time travel.
Yeah.
But again, the way they did it.
I was gonna say then they flashed a sickbay where you see Stamets lying on the console, and Hugh
That's
wakes
in
him
the
up.
next section, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Heather's go for the next section.
Yep.
So next section, Act 1. This isn't Terrelysium. They made it. Oh my God. And they are alive. But this isn't where they wanted to be. They are broken down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, and now they have to walk to the nearest galactic gas station for repairs. Saru picks Tilly to go with him because she is a wonderful first impression, and the crew will remain behind, healing their injuries and repairing the ship. Luckily, there is life on this planet, which means they succeeded in their mission. Saru and Tilly start walking, they have a great conversation, and then they follow a shady-looking person into town. Back at the ship, as one of the lower decks peoples scoops up the remaining parts of Leland, Stannis finishes his recuperation and goes back to work fixing the ship. Jett helps and hilarity ensues.
Now, that was a pretty funny scene. Well, first off, when you have Stamets is laying on the bed, as Pat was getting ready to say, you looks like he was all alone. It was just laying there.
Cinematically, I'm going to nerd out again because that shot was fucking cool. It was just him lying on the bed and the camera's just doing one of those. I imagine it was a techno crane move where it was just booming over and then tilting down and it locks in on him and you're looking at it. And then all of a sudden the sounds, by the way, that sound I haven't heard in a long time from that sounded like original series Sickbay sound. And then it just like goes shaboom. You can hear entire chaos is going. The camera moves back like it didn't cut at all. The same shot and everything's going all around. Mm-hmm. Now that was really, really cool cinematically.
Yeah, they did a really awesome job. That was very well done.
You're zooming in and all you're seeing is this one thing and then the fog lifts and everything else is there.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering if that was something they had to create in editing, or was it something where they got the camera so close and so still and everyone's like, go, and they just run everybody into the scene and like, okay, move the camera again. And everyone's in the scene all of a sudden. I wonder if they did that trick or not. It was just cool.
It really kind of lent to a person maybe being knocked out, because when you're knocked out in the coma, you're not aware of what's going around you or anything. And as you fight towards consciousness, all of a sudden you start picking up everything comes at a rush.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. So that was really, really good.
Yeah, because you heard Hugh say, I'm going to induce in a coma. And he did that in the teaser because that happened the last season. He was put into a coma and it sounded like, okay, I'm going to put you into a coma now and everything's calm and relaxed. And then he comes out of it and chaos is going on. It's like, wait, did he just put him into another coma or did he come out? It's like, what's going on? The disorientation of it is really well captured. I
got the classic zombie vibe where you go into the hospital and as you come out of your coma, there's like a zombie apocalypse and that's where you start the game or whatever. That's the kind of vibe I got from that.
Well, what was weird is when Detmer got there. When Detmer got in, she's the zombie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She didn't know what was going on.
No.
And I also love that fact that Huber. Oh my God. Mrs.
Hugh Culber.
Hugh Culber.
Yeah, Culber.
I just call him Doctor.
Yeah, I love the fact that you showed the tenderness he got back. Once he finally made his decision, you saw he was being firm, he was being loving, and he's being like, I want to get up. It's like, no, you need to spell, I went to so-and-so and got this lousy t-shirt.
It was awesome. The t-shirt test.
Yeah, my partner brought me out of a coma and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
T-shirt.
Spell it.
And you forgot the hyphen. Don't forget the hyphen.
He could spell it.
And he's like, my brain. Yes, it's scrambled like
and you know what, though? Stamets is the character that will put the hyphen in there. When he's 100%, he's totally anal enough to put the hyphen in.
Yeah.
So he missed the hyphen. He's like, no, you're not good to go yet.
And speaking of scrambled brains, Jett said to the pilot, someone needs to buy her a drink. What do you guys think happened to her head? Do you think it was like, even though all of the neural like pathways were fine when she did the scan in the medical board, you could see throughout the whole thing that she was like affected by the PTSD. Wouldn't they have caught that in the scans? Like, you would think by that time they would know what to look for.
Good question, because you think, obviously, you're looking at her going like, that girl, she just got zinged really hard. And, you know, because you see football players get knocked the F out because they got a concussion and it takes them a while to get back and going again. But the doctor said, no, you didn't have a concussion. You're okay. So I think she just got zinged really good.
Well,
the thing is that the doctor checked, I didn't mean to jump in, but the thing is that the doctor checked her brain. They didn't check the implant. Her brain could be fine, but something could be way to fuck off with that implant.
I imagine they engineer those implants, though. They've got to be pretty tough implants.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
I'm thinking it's a combination of all of the stuff that we just talked about, but I think it's also the fact that we just time warped. She's so far in the future, and well, that's pretty shocking. And if you sit there and think about it, it'll mess your head up, right?
Well, if she's PTSDing,
you know, even you noticed when she walked by that something was off because he paused and looked at her. Yeah, but there was so much going on, he couldn't follow up.
And of course, I don't know if you also noticed when she got there in the sickbay, somebody was just passed away.
Yeah.
That was just, it was like kind of a little tossed in line. It was like, oh, that's what was happening.
Right. But both the nurse and the doctor gave her a look like, what's going on? What's wrong? You know, even after the nurse scanned her and everything, which I still think they should scan for PTSD. They should know what that looks like.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's something else, you know, triggered via the time warp, because she does have those implants. Maybe it's something technical that is out of phase or out of alignment, or just, you know.
Maybe she has to reboot her OS.
Yeah, she's got to come back into it a little bit. And she starts to do it by the end, but she's still a little bit out of it. So I'm worried about her. I'm worried about her a lot.
I think Patrick hit the nail on the head. She had to reboot, and this was the period of the time where she doesn't remember. Just wait for her system to reboot, and then she'll be back.
It's like Rutherford in Lower Decks.
Right, yep, exactly.
She doesn't remember what's going on. She's just operating automatically.
Well, even his implants gave trouble in Lower Decks. So
yeah, maybe she just got knocked into she got knocked into PTSD mode,
right?
So
oh my God, mind blown, maybe.
But the thing which I really enjoyed, how despite everything going crazy like that, they allowed Jett to inject some levity into the situation.
Yes, I was so happy to get so much Jett Reno in this episode. It was almost a little bit too much, actually, but it was still great. I love that her character is still the exact same character with all the same goofball quips and all the same attitude. Even though her back's out of whack, she's still got all the attitude. I love that.
You can never have enough Jett.
Yeah, Jett's great. If you guys got a chance to listen to the official Star Trek podcast, what's it called now? Oh, gosh, I have to Google it, put it in the show notes. Like Pod something or other. It's a Star Trek podcast, go figure. But Jett Reno was the guest on it. And it was really cool to hear her as the person talk and be interviewed to find out who she is, because I'm not very familiar with all her other work.
Tig Notaro.
So Tig Notaro, because she's a comedian by training. I mean, she's better as a comedian. She's not really an actor. She's done acting, but she's not a serious actor.
Well,
she's very good at it. She's a natural at it. And the hardest thing about her, of course, the challenge to a lot of Trek actors is all the fucking techno-babble. It is so hard to deliver lines that make any sense at all with any meaning whatsoever and come across like you know what you're talking about. And Jett Reno's attitude is what brings her stuff together. And they talked about how they actually work a lot on her on the set to get her through these parts, because it's not easy for her. And I can relate to that, having worked with actors that are not professional actors, like they're amateurs, or there's, you know, some guy on the street is like, oh, I can act, sure, but he has no idea what they're doing. To shoot a movie with somebody like this is very difficult. And to pull it off with the level that they're doing it with Tig is so fucking cool. And it's exactly what they were going for when they got her in the first place. And she's like trying to call and say, I'm so sorry, I apologize, I was so bad at this, you know, I really blew it. And they're calling her and they're like, no, we're looking at the footage, they're cutting it together on set, you look great, we love you.
Yay.
So and you can watch, you gotta love Jett's perfect character in Star Trek that you'd never really get before.
Interesting.
Yeah, the closest we have is the banter back and forth between Bones and Spock.
Right. Yeah, it's
a little banter.
Yeah, a little bantering back and forth. But she's got like this dry attitude about it. It's so cool.
Oh, she's funny.
I thought it was awesome. And we see that Georgiou was none worse for the wear.
Well, yeah, she said it's like reading an obituary backwards when they're in the
yeah, she's seeing Tilly. really hard.
Yeah. She's got about as much psychic dominance as a kitten. And Tilly's like, come on now, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, even Tilly's like, what the Tilly was about ready to slap her and probably get knocked down. But still, she was going to slap her, I think. Because, oh my God, that was a big diss.
One of the main themes in this episode was the conflict between Georgiou and Saru.
Yeah.
Like the fight for dominance, you know? It was all throughout the episode.
And the priorities, I love the battle of priorities because Saru's got his head on straight. He's got to get the starship going back, get it back together. Let's get the systems going because if we don't have the systems working, we can't do anything about it.
Saru is a hypocrite.
Uh-oh.
Saru is a freaking hypocrite. I love Saru. I'm not saying anything bad about Saru, but he's a freaking hypocrite. He stands up and he says to everyone, I am aware that you all may feel an expedited need to see and understand what is out there. But our first priority is in here. The integrity of the ship and this crew. Are we clear? And then, oh my fucking God, the first chance he got, he's like, I'm going to go out and start exploring.
Let's go take a walk.
Everyone else can stay inside, but I'm taking Tilly and we're going to go walking.
No, but he was doing that because they needed an important part to get the ship off the ground.
They needed more rubidium.
Rubidium.
Yeah. If you're going to send somebody out, I mean, might as well. I mean, a little bit. I can hear what you're saying, but
I should have stayed with the ship.
You should have never. Senior officers should never leave. Period.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Yes.
And then we wouldn't have an interesting show to watch for all of Star Trek because all the senior officers are just sitting around in the ready room all day.
I love Saru, and I'm so happy him and Tilly did that, and I really love the way it went. I am just saying, in that speech, that sort of made him a hypocrite.
By the way, I'm going to go take a walk and look for some rubidium.
Here's a little trivia for you. Do you know where rubidium actually was used first?
I don't remember what the episode was, but they mentioned it in the after show.
Rubidi 5?
No, that was actually, you remember when Kirk and Spock was put in jail at the Nazi place?
Oh, that's where it was.
And he took the transponder thing out of his back because it had the rubidium in it, and he used it to focus the sun.
That's
light
what they used
to
cut the lock off from the light bulb.
Yes.
Or was it the sun? So they cut the iron bar out of the way so they could break out.
Yes.
That's what it was.
So actually, that part is not something they made up on the fly. That's actually has been around, as well as the translator circuit. You've heard them talk about during this series as well. And that's when the Iocosians, when somebody left the communicator, and they said that that the communicator has a translation circuit, and that's the basis of all Starfleet.
The translator, I believe.
Yeah, and that's the basis of all of our technology.
Yeah, it's a big like a transmission. It's like if you would equate it to modern day technology. Of course, modern day technology has evolved in radio stations and TV stations. They used to have ginormous fucking tubes that would be a transmission tube. And that's the equivalent to what we're looking at in Star Trek is a translator. It's the thing that does the transmitting.
So it's pretty cool. To skip past that part, though, when you see that Georgiou's priority was to get communications going, but you saw the look on her face of how she's worried about Michael.
Yeah, it's nice to see her animated about something like this because you're not quite always clear of her intentions. Georgiou's got intentions that you're like, what is this woman up to? But now this one's pure and honest. She's worried about Michael Burnham.
She's got a lot of love for Michael, so it makes me wonder if their relationship in the mirror universe was far deeper than she lets on, because her primary concern...
Wasn't it a mother-daughter relationship that they had? Isn't that pretty deep?
Was it?
I think so. I think it might have been.
But it's amazing the conflict of, do we get the systems of the ship put back together versus just getting comms working? Because I'm thinking about it, it's like, you know what, it would be nice to get comms going so you can at least ask for help. But what if something else shows up and then you've got to defend yourself and you can't plug the phasers into the lithium crystals because the EPS conduits are down?
Exactly.
Well, if an alien's calling you want to answer the phone.
Yeah. The other side of this, it occurred to me while I'm watching this. Can you imagine meeting someone, a complete stranger, that's 930 years ago? So if you're in modern time and you meet somebody from 930 years ago, this is the equivalent of running into somebody from Discovery on this planet. So for us, we're in the year 2020. Well, some of us are. And go back to 1090. Imagine meeting a person from 1090.
Well, isn't Nathan from 1090?
What happened? What was happening during 1090?
I have no idea. I just thought it would be fucking cool.
It was 1091. I wasn't 1090. Don't try to make me older.
Are we doing taxes again? This is sounding like a tax number.
I thought it was 1040.
Yeah, the easy form I like. I like the easy form.
I hate chihuahuas.
And of course, we met Gene having the hazmat cleanup in aisle 5.
Right.
I was like, where'd that guy come from? Is he new?
Yeah, he must have been. I haven't seen him before.
I dig that. I was like, oh, where's this guy from? It's just some guy. He's scooping up the Leland.
And he was all indignant.
I wonder if he was happy with his decision to stay with Discovery.
He's probably just doing his thing, man, earning his keep.
He's like, this is a life choice I regret.
Well, when you have to clean up a crew member off the freaking,
literally
floor.
off the floor. And that's really disgusting. I've never done that myself, but I've heard stories from people that have been in combat and somebody walks over a mine, and you want to talk about PTSD.
Yeah,
the shit these people have to deal with after something like that happens, similar to what happened to Leland.
Yeah, that stuff is not good.
It
Also, you
sucks.
figure with the crew, people who you sit and think psychologically that everyone you ever knew and loved outside of the ship are long since dead.
Yeah, 1,000 years ago.
They haven't been there long enough for them to process that part of it. I don't think yet.
No, but
It's
you got to
coming in,
figure
though.
once
It's
it
coming
hits,
in.
that's going to be something. Then you're going to want to know what happened to all of the Starfleet heroes.
Yeah.
I know the first thing I want to do is go
That's
talk
true.
to the guy says, whatever happened to, Kirk, whatever happened to Pike, whatever happened
What happened to Harry Kim?
Did he ever get promoted?
Did he ever make captain?
Oh my
He
God, poor Harry
never-
Kim. That was popular on Twitter, by the way, guys. He's tweeted out one of those images that somebody sent out of,
That was funny.
Harry Kim watching the scene from last week where the freshly minted communications officer guy gets promoted, and Harry Kim's watching it and going, "What the fuck?"
Come on, what the fuck?
It was great. I love the humor in the Star Trek community.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we ready to move to our next section?
I think we
I
are.
just love that the scene between Saru and Tilly. So good. They are both tremendously wonderful actors, and they get to act this scene out. And yes, Tilly is going to be a great first impression.
Yeah. Okay, on to Act 2. I need a drink. So repairs on the ship continue as a redhead and a Kelpian walk into a bar. The redhead asks for repairs, and the bartender replies, "What is this, some kind of joke?" Ba-dum-bum. Eventually, the bartender 3D prints them the new part that they are looking for, just as Billy the Kid walks into this Wild West style bar and starts bullying everyone, killing our new friends in the process.
Little theme music.
That was exciting to come in, complete with swinging doors, complete with they walk in and they look and you see everybody's hand is going to excite arms.
Yeah. We just stepped right through and just instantly transported into a Western. Just like that. Boom, we're in a Western. It's fucking cool.
Like the episode
So
where they were with Billy the Kid at the OK Corral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing missing is that somebody should have said, "You don't look like you come around from these parts."
Well, somebody should have been playing the piano and then stopped playing.
Oh my God, that would have been good.
But they got pretty much all the other ones, all the other, the weapons being ready and
The bartender cleaning the bar.
the bartenders cleaning the bar. Yeah, totally.
And then we find out what this new species is. They're called Ceridian.
Oh, they're not new.
The
Are they
Ceridian.
They are not new. They have been in Enterprise, Shadows of Pigeon, and also Demons. Yep.
Well, then I take that back.
Well, newish. New to 930 years in the future new.
It was an autocorrect. We got an autocorrect right
There
here.
you go.
But it was kind of cool because, again, Saru being Saru, because now that his threat gangulate is gone and he's now a badass, didn't get all frightened when everyone pointed their weapons at them. You can still see she was kind of nervous.
It was that moment of do you have it in you or don't you?
Yeah,
And I misspoke. I said they were Ceridian, but it was Corridon.
But you know what's really-
Coridian. Yeah.
See, I would have pronounced it coordinates, but I butcher everything.
Yeah.
It's funny because like, okay, prove your Starfleet. And then Tilly does what only Tilly can do, is Techno-Babble something. And they have no idea what she said was right. They're like, okay, she said it with conviction. She must be.
Yeah,
and she's literally scared. You're scaring me.
Or something.
Starfleet Regulation 256.15. And this is a reference to one of the novels written by Joseph Sherman and Susan Swartz. It was published in 1997. Officers shall display behaviors befitting an officer at all times.
Generally sounds like a good idea, because otherwise you don't really think of them as an officer.
That is correct.
That's why I'm never going to be one.
No, that's why they have in military judicial code, they have conduct unbecoming. Yep, that's definitely a thing.
But yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Very cool. And the Tilly to sit there and just, and push through, because she's scared shitless. I can see she's got no shit. She's scared, but she's dealing with it. And I love that she just went forth. And then the reaction to everybody else, they just dropped their weapons down. It's like, okay, fine. They're cool. So hi, Starfleet people. What's up?
Welcome to the colony.
Hi, my name is... And I love it when she says her name and then she's like, my name lacks authority.
Yeah, it's just like...
You guys like, what? You're like, what?
It's like, okay, Tilly doesn't laugh. It's like, oh, you're Tilly. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, they still got the weapons pointed at her. So no authority whatsoever for your name, Tilly. Sorry. But it turns out we meet Cal, and Cal is not a bad guy.
Billy the Kid. Did you know that he is a courier, which is the same as Book?
Yeah, and he had some bad fortunes happening to his family. Because what's the guy is it Zara?
Zara, yeah.
Yeah, I love how he said, hey, Cal, how's the family? And, of course, it was mentioned just before that he killed his brother. So that's a fucked up question to ask, dude.
It was meant to show dominance, I think.
Yeah, he's Mr. Big Bully, and he's totally playing that part.
Mm-hmm. And then meanwhile, back at the ranch, we have Jett has managed to talk Stamets into crawling into a Jeffries tube.
And why isn't Stamets still in Sickbay?
Seriously, he doesn't want to stay put.
He should have strapped that dude down. I think he knows him. Hugh knows Stamets well enough that dude needs to be strapped the fuck down if he's in sickbay.
No. He knows well enough that if he straps him down, they're going to be aimed it on.
Well, that's a different kind of situation.
But he said he only had to finish one cycle of cellular regeneration. So he finished his cycle.
Several.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to do several of them.
He's going to He's going to get some scars, right? So it was. He obviously got out of bed way too early to try to put the ship together. And I as a engineer, I respect that. But at some point, that you've got a crew that's capable of doing the job when you're out of under the weather.
Well, it was so funny listening to Jett, because Jett's like, he tries to get her to go up in the Jeffrey tubes, and she's like, sorry, sunshine. Spine says no. And then I love the quote that she gave him, which was so perfect, and he didn't listen. Helpless is a shitty feeling, but it's not forever, and it doesn't make you any less capable. It's like, oh my God, that's a great quote.
It really was.
Is that going to be a shirt?
He totally ignored it and went up there anyway, and she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're like, we can go get this other person. And
the other person came.
Exactly.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves because I'll talk about it in the next section.
Yeah. Other stuff going on in this act, the thing with Georgiou and Nan.
Yeah, Nan.
I love how she said, I stayed for Arium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Georgiou's like, well, that's an unbelievably shitty decision.
Right.
But
she says the woman who stayed here.
At the same time, what a wonderful, that's a warrior representing, and I love that about Nan.
Well, she's the mama bear.
Yeah.
For security. She does all the security.
She takes care of everyone.
Yeah.
And I love the quote right before that where she was like, oh, that's a new fun sound. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how I feel during a windstorm.
The ship was a creaking, that's for sure. Those sounds, I wonder if there's something they pulled off the shelf, off the tape, or did they have to go creak something to make those sounds? Because they were very cool.
It was Parasitic Ice.
Yeah, Parasitic Ice. You just don't get anywhere.
Like, what the hell is that about? Parasitic Ice? Like,
it's this really aggressive ice.
Like, I mean,
so
does it know what it's doing?
It just likes to claim everything. And you could tell when it's coming because you totally hear doom, 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 doom.
Yes, I was thinking that.
No, it's dun dun.
Yes.
It's like
It wasn't vanilla though. It was parasitic.
I am so giving you massive high fives right now.
Well, but people said Vanilla Ice was parasitic, so you know.
Stop collaborating and listen.
Right?
It's like it's getting nighttime. I can tell. Listen. Baby.
That's hilarious. That's good stuff.
Oh, I love that.
And how about that little scene between Georgiou and Linus?
I know she was trying to do her best to order him around.
He was so nice about it, though. It's like,
yeah, he was.
I can see 74,000 nanometers. What big eyes you have, you know?
Grandma.
she's like, I could use you. It's like
to look at what? What kind of detail do you need that? As a pair of binoculars? What are you going to use them as?
Seriously.
So, what do you guys think that she did with his eyes?
Probably just get a beat on which way to go, because Saru took off, and you can't just whip out a tricorder and track them because everybody's trying to fix the ship with those things.
Oh, so she's going to see if she could see them.
Yeah, it's like, hey, can you take an eyeball over there and take and see that way? Right that way? Okay, I'll go that way.
Okay.
Speaking of seeing things, this planet looks really freaking cool, really strange, and really unworldly.
Oh, it looks steampunk style with the blimps and everything. I love the terrain.
My notes was it reminded me of Avatar and some Portal 2.
Oh,
yeah.
Because you're climbing things and you saw those ladders everywhere. Yeah, and you're bouncing through portals to get to places.
Totally.
Yeah, there was a portal to get you from downstairs to upstairs, and then not into the place, but at the swinging doors, so you can have dramatic entrances.
There's no reason to put swinging doors there except to have a dramatic entrance.
Zara's entrance was pretty dramatic when the camera just zooms in on their feet.
Oh my God. And the Spurs, he came in with that authority that only a bad guy comes into it in a bar with.
And what's with the gun that he had, man? That thing was that's not a phaser, because a phaser will either stun you or kill you. This thing was meant to inflict pain.
Or kill you.
Yeah, it had different settings.
And it had barbecue. It had barbecue and just make her eyes bleed a little.
Yeah, they had different settings on it. You can see from the settings because Georgiou did that. Yeah, because Georgiou flipped the setting.
The barbecue one though, he didn't die right away, so it was a painful.
He was still glowing when he was already dead. Like a scene later, the guy was fucking glowing still. That's how fucking fried he was. I feel so sorry for Cal.
Yeah, he died, but he died happy knowing that Starfleet was coming back. He tried because the guy's like, "This is the first we heard." It's like you talk more now than you've talked ever.
Yeah, that was the sound of a bully not liking getting talked back to. He's like, "Cal, you need to shut the hell up, okay?"
And where can we get those knitting needles? I want those knitting needles, Rocky. I know it's future tech, but I want those knitting needles. It's like a 3D printer without the
printer. Yeah, that was cool. I want to get one of those. I'm looking for it on Amazon. I'll see if I can find one.
It creates matter out of thin air.
That was cool.
Well, it's reprogrammable matter.
I mean, what the hell? Yeah, out of thin air.
Until it was like, she was so into it. And then I love the quote that she said where she's like, you can't bake a peach pie with a pizza recipe.
Well, you can, and Heather's tried it. We've seen this happen. That's how things catch fire.
Oh, my God.
I'm really bad with the kitchen.
Es no muy bueno.
It's like, here, try this. It's a hot dog flavored pizza. It's like, what?
That sounds like me. Like, hey, let's try this.
That sounds like a good try. That cheese and bread and hot dog, that might work. With a little pineapple thrown in. We should try this.
Relish.
I know, but I did not like, and I could not get into the pineapple taco.
Oh, dude, man, that was one of my best recipes.
That was nasty.
That was so cool. And then with the cinnamon added to it. Oh, yeah. Why? How could you not like that?
Cinnamon and pineapple?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about me cooking here.
Excuse me while I heave.
Friends at home, the Starfleet Underground podcast does not endorse cooking with Heather's recipes.
Yeah, don't buy my cookbook.
Nor should you, yes.
No. And if she does happen to put it out without our knowledge, we disavow everything on there, and we do not take responsibility for what may or may not happen to your stomach.
Oh, my God.
And or your kitchen.
Oh, Captain, I have you quoted on several recipes.
Oh, let's go back to, when did Georgiou leave? Was it this scene or the next?
It's the next scene. Before we go on to the next one, there's one more thing I really want to talk about, and that's Saru not knowing the shorthand language called Pigeon. In real life, Pigeon refers to any shorthand or abbreviated type of language. And when he called Saru a V'darysh captain, this is actually from one of the short treks, Calypso, where Kraft mentions that the V'darysh are obsessed with, like, quote, old things. And then Michael Chabon later confirmed on an Instagram post that V'darysh is a type of linguistic distortion for the word Federation.
Oh, interesting. The writers are having fun.
Oh, that's good knowledge.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
Was it V'darysh or V'darysh? Because I wrote it down.
If you're asking me about pronunciation, you can just automatically assume I butchered it. This is how Heather said it, so we know this is how you do not say it.
Yeah, I think it's V'darysh.
Whatever you do, don't ask her about sensors.
Yeah. Who's got sensors?
I don't know, but the censors weren't happy about it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be happy if I had sensors either.
Yeah, if you pointed the sensors in the wrong place at the wrong time, that gets the censors upset.
And the censors.
Yeah, them too.
you like also in when that guy came in, what was his name? The evil guy with the spurs.
Zara.
Which I like him as an actor, Zara.
Oh my God, he's so
Billy
good.
the Kid. Billy the Kid.
When Tilly tries to hide the item behind her back.
The translator.
Yeah.
The translator. And she's like, what's behind your back? And the look on her face is like a child that was hiding a cookie. She was determined, defiant, and upset all at the same time.
Didn't he call her sweetheart?
He called her sweetheart.
Yes.
She gets him back with the sweetheart
that's like,
thing.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
nah,
that's coming up. That's like my favorite thing of the whole episode. But he is Zara's so observant about things. He's such a bad evil guy, but he's fucking good because he's observant of everything. He looks in and he knows what's up. He knows about the high energy gamma rays and graviton radiation waves and all that shit. He knows what's.
He picked up that they were from the past, like almost immediately. Yeah,
he knows they're time traveling. Yeah, and then instantly he realizes that you've got a translator. Oh, you've got comm problems. You guys don't know what the fuck's going on. He knows he's winning this. He's got this really tall advantage, and he can really take over and be a Mr. Badass that he is.
Very quick and observant. Yeah,
you can't fix this stuff yourself, so it's obviously if you can't fix it yourself, you're relying on old tech.
Yeah. He knows what's up, and he makes conclusions very quickly. He's very, very fast, and it works for him.
Yeah, and he's like, you got old stuff, and if you ever know shit, that means you had dilithium, and dilithium is in high demand. So we're going to go to your ship and basically take all of the dilithium.
Yeah, and Saru's like, no, Saru ain't having it.
yeah. Saru is like, and then he starts to get into a bargaining battle. That's in the next scene.
200, 100, 150, 175.
Okay, good job.
Sold.
Bad deals all around. He's got the upper hand though. He knows what's up.
But I don't understand how he thinks he could walk into a starship full of Federation officers with Nan there and expect to just stroll through without shit going down.
Well, that's why he wanted to send Tilly over.
He only thinks there's 77 crew members, but there's 88.
Yeah, Tilly had to correct him.
Yeah, which was interesting, which is like, well, Tilly, you're giving out information, but maybe it's pertinent?
Well, if he only scanned 77 crew members, then there's something wrong with his scanners.
Well, he scanned alive crew members who were alive.
Yeah, his scanners were set to the only ones he needs to worry about because that's what he's all about, is that information he needs to worry about because he's so damn observant.
Well, he missed one, and that brings us to the next scene.
There you go.
Where the most important one he missed.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Okay, so next up is Act 3. Pain is foreplay. So as Saru and Tilly find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place, that's when one of Billy the Kid's gang members finds Georgiou roaming around outside. She quickly kicks ass and takes control of the situation. But it's too late. The sun has set, and the parasitic blue ice meth from Breaking Bad is going to kill the entire crew.
Nice Breaking Bad reference. I love it.
When everybody's getting ready to leave, he's like, make sure you go back there, sweetheart, and get it. Because the parasitic ice, if it gets down your throat, it's not pretty. And then all of a sudden, here comes Georgiou. Like, she doesn't know. Georgiou does not fucking stumble around.
Yeah.
He did that on purpose. You know, it's like we found her stumbling around outside.
Yeah.
No, you saw her because she wanted you to see her.
This scene is about two predators going head to head. And they're very good predators because he's a badass. We've established that. And we know Georgiou's a badass. And they have different methods. So, yeah, she knows how to play a little coy or play a little, wounded or whatever and mess with them and take advantage of them when they're not expecting it.
She jumps from universe to universe. This guy's only been on one planet.
True.
Yeah, and she likes doing that. And she looked down on him, too. She's like, psh, you're nothing.
Yeah, she eats guys like that for breakfast and brunch.
She's like, just because you have a fancy vocabulary doesn't make you scary. It means you have a thesaurus.
I love that.
He's like, what's this? A one-woman tactical response? Like, come on. He's totally missing. He's so observant, except for this one thing he cannot observe is how much of a badass she is because he's overlooking it.
Well, because she's a woman, That's why.
When he said that, the whole one-woman tactical response, I'm like, it's Georgiou. I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, it's not just one woman. It's like,
Georgiou. Don't fuck with her. She's going to mess you up, man.
And first off, there should have been a warning. A warning bell should have went off if you should have a rifle aimed at someone's face and she goes, oh, I'm going to like it here.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Shoot her now.
Yep.
Yeah, my observing of my notes here was that Zara enjoys punishing because he's a fucking dick. He likes to fuck with people and mess them up and take advantage and hurt and cause pain and suffering. He likes that shit. But with Georgiou, she knows exactly what she's doing and she's actually being extra sassy to fuck with him, to make him lose his edge.
The library was open and he got read.
Yeah, totally. He's like, you got a mouth. Well, I've got a gun, but
So funny too, because it's like Starfleet, you need some badass people to take care of some badass guys.
Yeah, because diplomacy isn't working very well with him.
No,
not at all.
It really wasn't. And then when he shot her to try to torture her, and she's like, where I come from, pain is foreplay. It's like,
yeah.
I love that. Wow. That was the best line of the whole freaking episode.
I think that should be the name of this podcast episode.
Yeah, because she's got so much attitude. Because she's given him so much attitude. It's like, we love it. It's awesome. But from his point of view, it's like, why is she giving me so much attitude? It's like, okay, you want to mess with me? I'll mess with you. Let's take and go real slow. And that was his downfall.
Yeah. And he's like, why is this bitch going down? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point is like we're in a story where if you blink, you got to play it back over again because it happens incredibly fast. And there were a lot of cuts in the little bar brawl, the bar fight. Lots of cuts visually. But if you go back and watch the behind the scenes footage when they showed some of that, they show just a wide shot of them shooting this. And Michelle Yeoh is moving every single one of those moves. Every one, not even slowly. She's doing every single move that they showed in that sequence, one right after another. No cuts. Just you see this one shot, she can do it. She's doing everything. It's fascinating to watch that woman move.
Well, did you not see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yeah.
She did
she's a martial artist.
She's so good, and she's a master at this and choreographing this whole thing. And then you watch it with the cuts, and it's just so fucking awesome. I just love it.
It's just smooth.
You really have to pay attention because you barely see her wink at Saru when she's going to
it's very subtle. It's that subtle nonverbal communication like we had with the last episode. People looking at each other, and then it's going down.
Mm-hmm. She was shot, 3 times before she decided, okay, that's enough. I'm time for me to take you guys out.
Yeah. And she does it so quickly.
Them Terrans are tough cookies, man.
And then the moves she did. Oh my. Well, first of all, Saru, what the fuck was that? He shot spikes out of his head. Where'd that come from?
That was so cool.
Oh my God.
Do you guys know what those darts do? Do they paralyze? Do they kill? Like what specifically do they do?
Probably a bit of everything, I would think.
Is it a cactus? Like just, throwing needles at you? Like what
they were
exactly?
Not small because they were sticking out of his arm, like almost a foot out of his arm. And these are long fucking spikes.
Yeah.
And they're not gentle because they just went poing and, impaled right there. I imagine there's got to be some kind of chemical in there too.
Have you ever heard of cholla?
Who?
Huh?
Cholla is a cactus in the desert that has like these really huge spikes about the same like width and length of Saru's spikes, but they have little hooks at the end. So when they get in you, they can't come out.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
Yeah.
I bet you Georgiou would like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Quite a tool.
Because when he shot Billy the Kid with his head spikes, I imagine he sat on the floor and didn't move for a second because he was like, what the fuck was that? And did they come from his head?
I'm like, yeah, because he'd never done that before. Yeah. Like, where'd that come from? I mean, it was great, but wow, where'd that come from? It was great. Yeah. And how long does it take him to reload that sucker?
right?
Oh, that's a good question.
Good question. Is it like growing fingernails?
Yeah, do you have to like take a nap for a little bit and then...
Or is it like after a male orgasm, you got to wait at least 15 minutes?
Yeah, you got to rebuild. You got to rebuild the fluids or the spike.
It's a possible. We're going to have to ask him that next time.
It's a great question.
That's so funny.
And the two next moves in this that blew me away. She grabbed the guy, did a leg spin takedown, and then snapped the fucker's neck.
Right?
Fucking badass.
That was awesome.
It was great. That was awesome. And then at the end of the sequence, what does she do? The no-look side shot. Bam, you're down too. Because the one guy started to move. She didn't even look. She just pointed the phaser and gone.
It's so funny because she's saying here killing people right and left, and then Saru has a problem with her killing the leader.
Yeah, that's right. We wasted everybody else, but now this is not necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because the situation is done. No, you got to understand as Starfleet, the situation was now de-escalated. There was no more fighting to be done. So the guy basically was helpless. Starfleet does not kill helpless people.
Yeah, this is not who we are, is the line that Saru said.
They only murder the minions.
That's correct. Only the minions, because,
they were all wearing red underwear, basically.
Yeah, right? Like, what were they wearing red undershirts?
They only get paid scale, so we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
But the fact that you saw Georgiou respects strength when she put the rifle in Saru's face, and Saru didn't back down. He just looked at her. And I think that was a power move between the two.
That was real. That was real fucked up. But also, you're right. It was a power move. And it's like at some point you got to take a stand.
No, because if Saru had backed down, she would have done like in the movie. She would have taken charge.
Yeah,
she would have looked at him and goes, okay, look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now.
She would have had him for lunch. Mm-hmm. Right? Because that's what they eat in her land. They were eating Kelpian.
Yeah. And so he didn't back down. And so she's like, okay, all right.
No lunch for her.
Got it. You got it. So I thought that was cool. So, and then we saw your favorite part after Tilly was hiding behind the bar. Go ahead. I know you want to regale that part there, Rocky.
Which part?
What did she do when she came from behind the bar?
Oh, yes.
Billy the Kid was on the ground.
She fucking crashed the bottle into his head. Sorry, sweetheart.
I love that.
The taste of sweet revenge.
That second time I was like, oh, that was awesome. It was so good. It was like justice.
That was perfect.
Then they're like, okay, you can leave now. And he's like, I won't. Last out there, he's like, well, you were going to send her out there. So,
Yes, karma.
Like, come on, get going. Lights not there anymore. You got to hurry.
And you don't know how Tilly is. We see how Tilly is when she grows up, so to speak, from the mirror universe. So.
Oh, my God. Well, I love watching the evolution in this show. In Star Trek Discovery, we see the evolution of Tilly. And we're just watching it happen slowly and easily. But going through an event like this for Tilly has got to be really, really empowering because she survived it and she can go through something like this again. And now she knows what's to expect. And maybe now she won't be as afraid.
And this is the same woman who told somebody, I will rip out your tongue and use it to lick the bottom of my boot.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Still my favorite quote ever.
Yeah. That's now she could get some licking done.
With that parasitic ice.
Yes.
Speaking of quotes, I really like the quote at the very beginning of this where Nant was looking for Georgiou and she's like, Commander, Linus said Georgiou left Decade and went to help out here. And Jed was like, what, you believe that? Georgiou helping? Seriously? And it's like, damn it.
It's like, oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
It's a good thing she did leave because actually she helped save their ass.
Yeah, she did what she needed to do. And I'm happy that she did it. But she's a little bit of a loose cannon sometimes. And it worked out great in the end this time. But what happens next time? That's what you have to worry about.
Exactly.
I was wondering if she was going to have those little satellite arm things that she had in the second season of Discovery, which turned all the Klingons into pink mists. But apparently they were left on the ship.
I'm sure that was a ship-specific item.
Yeah. So I was like, wow. But that was a really good fight scene, and it was very enjoyable. And like you said, the choreograph with the moves.
Yeah, the choreography is great.
Was really cool. I guess that moves us to our next section, or we still have more on this?
One more on this, two more on this, actually. Billy the Kid knew that they were time travelers because of certain gravitational waves. We see this in the original series, City on the Edge of Forever, where strange gravitational waves indicate a time portal.
Where were the gravitational waves coming from? That guardian on the,
It was just Q farting.
But then also you had to show that she was way smarter than even Saru had gave her credit for. Because when Georgiou got there, she's like, he knows that somebody else bigger and badder is coming.
Yeah.
Because of this, and he wants to leave before it's like she nailed it. And he looked at her. It's like, okay, well, maybe she's not a little frail thing.
Well, that's just it. I've said it before. It's game recognized game because this player recognizes what the other player is doing and knows how to beat them.
And she took out all of his men.
Took them out very quickly.
He didn't even breathe hard. Wasn't even breathing hard.
Yeah.
No, she looked like she enjoyed herself.
Seriously.
And Cal was still glowing by the end of it all.
The other thing I wanted to point out, too, was the part where Stannis was in the Jeffrey tubes and Jett's helping him. So this chick comes in and asks if they need help. And instead of sending the chick into the Jeffrey tubes to, do the repairs herself, so that way, Stannis doesn't have to do it injured, they're like, oh, we need you to go get the doctor so we all can sit here and watch him do repairs. Like, the doctor's supposed to be really busy with all these injured people, but we all need to sit here and watch him actually do the repair and sit there and fix the computer.
Well, Stannis probably wouldn't have left, even though he was bleeding on the floor. He wasn't going to go because he's going to stay, because that's just him. He's like, I need to finish this all the way through. So even if they sent the girl up there, I don't think he would have left. But, the fact is that he's dedicated to his duty.
And homos in 3188 are stronger than they are in 2020.
They work out more. They have isometric exercise.
What?
Well, yeah, in Starfleet, you got to maintain that physical, strength.
Dude, I've seen the doctor with his shirt off. Wow.
Yeah, he's actually
looking good.
He should be repairing the Jeffries tube. I mean, come on. Take your shirt off and climb up that ladder, baby.
If the sonic cleanser for clothes is done, all you need to do is call him in and use his washboard abs. Just scrub your clothes along his six pack.
Wilson's got he works out a lot.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got that charm. He's got this charm in person, just like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, totally.
He's a really nice guy. But now we go to our next section, which was even more exciting, even though there was no fighting. Go ahead, Heather.
So we are on the last section, Act 4. Lost and Found. Saru stops Georgiou from killing Billy the Kid and instead leaves his fate to our new friend's brother. Instead of shooting him, they send him out into the night knowing he will not be able to survive. But how can they get back to their ship? With a personal transporter. Welcome to the future. They beam back to their ship just in time since Stannis fixed the ship and turned on the power. Unfortunately, they can't get away from this villainous blue ice. Meth is a bitch. A ship appears just in the nick of time and pulls Discovery out of the parasite's tight grip. Who is their savior? It's Michael. They've been reunited.
Now, the part where they finally get back to the ship with the personal transporter, you don't see that, so they save money for the special effects. But they get the ship going, and you see the ship is actually labeling, and the ice is like, nah, I'm not letting you go.
That poor ship. It was trying to be like, come on, I want to go. It was like watching a wounded animal trying to get out of a trap. It's horrible.
Yeah, and every time they went, you saw the ice kind of even leaped up and tried to keep it.
It got deeper and deeper. It was watching like a nature video. It's like, and now we watch the paralysis of the poor dead animal about to get eaten.
It's like the tar pits, like the Brea tar pits.
Oh, man.
Like, it's sucking it down.
Quicksand for starships.
That's what happens when you have a high school chemistry teacher create something like that.
And it's like, oh, no, that's what happened on a field trip one day. Somebody said, listen, what happened? We mixed this. Okay, Heather, go ahead. You show your experience. Well,
That's what happened.
I tried this in my kitchen, and I think it's like deep fried ice cream. So let's see.
And the guy with blonde hair shows up and is like, hey, bitch, I'm going to sell this. Okay, bitch?
If you think I'm a horrible cook, you should see me as a chemist. My chemistry teacher banned me from using the chemistry lab because of the monster I created.
Oh, my God. I would love to have seen that.
No, back in the day, I had a big afro. As the time had it. And I was in chemistry class, and I had the Bunsen burner on full, which was blue. And I looked down, and then all of a sudden I smelled this, and people are yelling, no. Nathan!
Oh my God.
I look up, I had burned a perfect middle in my afro. It was a line that went straight down the hair.
Oh, thank God it didn't continue to burn.
You were doing the Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my God, it's a wonder I didn't set my whole head on fire.
And that's why we all drink Pepsi now.
Oh
so it
my
was like,
God.
oh my God. So that was pretty bad.
Wow, dude.
But they finally get the ship and they're going. And imagine you got weapons back, you got communications back, everything is going. And it says, all right, we need to escape, but we have a hostile. And it's even the biggest ship we've ever seen. And they're like, what the hell? What do we do? And Georgiou's giving that look.
The moment Saru takes a little bit long to figure this out, I'm like yelling at the screen at this point, hail them already, jeez. But he's taking it all in. It's like, is this the moment? Is this it? Is this all it's going to be? And then they finally says, hail him, and it's Burnham.
Did you see the look Georgiou was giving Saru, like before they knew it was Michael? And the look she was giving him was like, I told you so. You know, I told you we should have killed him.
You know, but also the look he gave, because when he said, which was kind of funny, because when they're going up and it's like, what do you want to do? He said, hail him, Georgiou, like you said, gave that look. It's like, you stupid mother, I told you.
Yes.
Just like you said, we should have killed him. Now we're all going to die because you are being a pacifist.
Exactly.
You know, but then when it came in and you saw on the screen that it was Michael with long braids.
Oh, and she looks so good.
It's like, I found you guys. And the look on Georgiou, I swear, if the camera stayed on her longer, she would have bursted in tears.
I almost did.
Oh, it was a great emotional moment. I loved it.
Like, I mean, I was all the feels on that one. It was just like, you know, I've been here a year.
Yeah.
I've been looking for you guys.
For a year.
I couldn't see the TV for some reason. It was all misty.
I know it was like such a touching part, and it's like, oh, and then you know, on the after show they showed a little bit of what's happening on next season.
You mean next episode?
So you get a chance to see what Michael, all of her different hairstyles and everything, and she becomes a courier like Book.
Yeah.
Well, her and Book are like bumping uglies.
So, and imagine,
I think.
Well, you would think maybe now it's possible.
Could
and
be.
You know, she's a badass now because apparently that was what Billy the Kid was scared of her coming.
That's true. That's very interesting.
Maybe, yeah.
Good point.
You know?
Well, they took away his ship, right?
Yeah, they did.
Like Billy the Kid, they took. But did you guys like notice they sent him out the door without like getting his passcode or his car key or anything?
Well, I'm wondering, is that actually going to be the last we ever see of him?
I doubt that.
I imagine we may see him in the future.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Because he was really good, a really good bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. I like him as an actor. But also on top of, we have that, could Michael integrate back to the crew after being on her own
Good question.
for a year?
Very good question.
And could she take a number one spot?
Well, she wouldn't be number two.
She's got her own ship.
But
No, and she's got her own ship with all that beautiful new technology.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
yeah, she's used to her bed turning into her desk, turning into her chair.
Right. Yeah. Turning into her back rub, you know.
Well, we see in one of the previews that our newest member of the crew is like, you guys live in a museum.
Yes, that's right.
That's funny.
That's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to get more. This season of Discovery so far is firing on all thrusters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing I don't get and I don't understand yet, and I don't see how it ties in, because normally the shorts always tie into the new season. Where in the hell was Discovery by itself waiting, and when did Book find it?
Well, it's time
Seriously.
travel. It's time travel, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
I've been wondering that too, because the ship said it was there for 1,000 years. So does that mean like we're 2,000 years? Like, how is that working?
Yeah, when does the ship start talking?
Yeah, I don't get it. Or maybe that was just a one-off, and they did it before they solidified the script and stuff. So I don't know.
Can't be
Maybe
it.
that's meant to
That
be
can't be
forgiven.
it. There's no way it's that.
So, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen. And remember, that Book said that he wanted to get back to his wife and kids.
Right.
Is his wife Michael?
Oh.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that short because I don't remember that much.
No, did
now.
they have kids?
Yeah.
Talk about bitch fight.
Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be, so it's a love triangle between Michael and the ship and Book.
Wow.
So
The ship's always going to win.
Well, we're talking about the future.
it was a good episode, and I think they've upped their game.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah. And it's got some very interesting things to follow.
If the ship can make its own bed, it can make its own penis.
Say what?
Back at you, Bobcat.
That was a good line. And
I'm on drugs.
I liked the Swiss Army laser that Stamets had to use to fix that relay. That's a fancy multi-tool.
Yeah. Multi-tool.
Yeah.
Multi-tool.
Yeah. Just a relay swap, guys.
And when
Not
he
to be
was up,
confused with the
Multi-
multi-pass.
Multi-tool.
when he was up there messing with the multi-pass, the doctor was like, okay, we're going to do
Multi-tool.
all of this slowly and
my God.
carefully because I need
Need
to
him
get you
alive.
out of there alive so I can kill you.
Kill you.
He's in so much damn trouble.
Exactly right.
What do they do in this situation, in this relationship, to punish each other? Because, going out in the world and doing things is punishing enough. What do they do when they get, at the end of the day, when they hang out in the quarters? Is there any of that, or are they just holding back?
Well, you know the difference between a sadist and a masochist, right?
What's that?
Well, the masochist goes, hurt me, hurt me, hurt me. And the sadist goes, no.
Oh, damn.
They probably take away holodeck privileges.
Something.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Or maybe they have to eat bad cooking or something. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, Heather's cooking. That's punishment in the future.
Heather doesn't work on Discovery, so that's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We can send her book to Discovery, and they can use that to punish them.
There you go.
Well, Discovery no longer has a kitchen because of me.
And then Detmer is still a little tweaked at the end of the episode. She kind of had she was zoned out. Like the vibe I was getting was, you guys remember Top Gun and Maverick is all, talk to me, Goose. He's not engaging. He's just sitting there with the stick and going, talk to me, Goose, talk to me, holding the tags. And that's kind of what it felt like. That Detmer is like that zoned out because she's still a little messed up. I'm worried about her.
Yeah, that happens when someone gets punch drunk, when they had that clock rung really, really well, so it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with that. They obviously left the breadcrumb and they haven't indicated where they're going with it yet.
Is she going to recover, or is it going to be something that's with her the rest of her life? I'm worried.
Well, that was a pretty big setup. They spent the entire episode setting that up.
Yeah.
Yep, with little crumbs throughout the whole thing. Speaking of which, we, it's an extra long episode because this show is just so full of goodness that once we get into it, we don't want to leave it. But
and it's packed full of goodness. I mean, it's like when we're watching Lower Decks, there's so much stuff they pack into it. And now we're watching full on episodes of Discovery, and it just feels like we're on such a big adventure because all these little things is so wonderful.
Can't wait for next episode that's coming up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here. And if you joined us for the premiere, thank you for joining us on the premiere. Remember to take care of yourself. Wash your hands. There's spikes going up at this time frame for all the COVID that we've seen.
And it's not Saru spikes.
No, it isn't Saru spikes. And we should find out how long it takes to regenerate them things.
No love spikes.
So we got to see about that. And if those are love spikes, is the back of his head then called the Love Shack?
I'm going to slap you.
Tin roof, rusted.
Well, now I know why. Now I know why I hear that song whenever I'm near him.
Love
Shack.
Okay.
Baby,
well, he's got that flamboyancy, He could stand in.
We're going to see how that's going to all work out with all those answers and more. Do not forget to go ahead and look at us for our social medias. Check our tags. We have interesting links to different podcasts as well. We acknowledge we're not the only podcast, and there's some very good ones that are out there.
Wait a minute, we're not?
So please go ahead and give them a listen to too.
It's so much fun watching them out there. They're all out there too, just like us. Like, we need more followers. We're trying to build followers. There was a Strange New Pod was a podcast that was reaching 1,000. And then what was the other one? It's Got Star Trek was the other podcast. And they were funny because they were like, well, send us money, support we don't have a Patreon, but you could send us money. Well, you could email us. You can't figure out how to email us money. And it's just like, you guys are hilarious. It's knocking me out. It's great. So this is so much fun. This fresh podcast crowd. It's great and it's awesome. And Star Trek, gotta love it.
It's a great time to be alive if you're a Star Trek fan. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to go ahead and remain cloaked because it's so cool sitting here looking at ships and wondering if we're there or not. It's so freaking awesome.
There's a Romulan ship off the port bow.
You're making faces at them through the porthole.
Oh, not a Romulan ship because they tend to multiply. So let's get ready to get out of here. And we come back and get back to where we can broadcast again. We're going to see you guys next week. So please enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Just don't have a wonderful week, but make it so.
Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.